Season 2, Episode 71 of One Man's Opinion. Today I am discussing Music Theatre of Connecticut's production of The Rocky Horror Show with book and music and lyrics by Richard O'Brien and directed by Kevin Connors, running through April 8th at Music Theatre of Connecticut at 509 Westport Avenue in Norwalk, Connecticut. Let's just be honest, The Rocky Horror Show is an overall silly guilty pleasure musical. It doesn't have much substance to it and requires full commitments from the cast to the extraordinary fantasy elements to be enjoyed. And if you don't know what this cult classic musical is about, well, let me illuminate you. The Rocky Horror Show is a musical homage send-up of the classic science fiction and horror B films of the 1930s, 40s, and 50s. It starts off with the engagement of our unsuspecting protagonists, Brad, played by Michael Luongo, and Janet, played by Skye Gillespie. The two are traveling together to visit their friend Dr. Scott, played by John Treacy Egan. When they get a flat tire, they find themselves at the dark and mysterious castle of the sweet transvestite transsexual from Transylvania, Dr. Frankenfurter, played by Johnston. Yeah, I know transvestite is no longer proper vernacular, but it's how Frankenfurter is referred to in the show, and I am using it fully in just that context. Brad and Janet become privy to the diabolical tests of Frankenfurter, where the mad scientist reanimates his masterpiece of male perfection, Rocky, played by Domenic Servideo. It's all over the top sci-fi cheese, and narratively I'm all for it because of its own absurdity. The story spirals into a ridiculous sex comedy for a time as all the characters inexplicably start having sex with each other before Frankenfurter's ultimate diabolical plan is revealed, which leads to more debauchery and then the story's climax. MTC's production, particularly the second act, is significantly toned down, especially the gratuitousness of the sex, but since their house and stage is so small, I can't imagine any casual theater-going audience from the Fairfield County area being too comfortable with what is essentially an acted orgy on stage. This bears the question, if you know you can't go all out with the show and give the story its due, why do it at all? Because there are times when it can be seen that the actors are not fully comfortable with the hypersexualization of the show, even in its toned-down level. I think audiences and casts alike remember the fun frivolity of the first act with songs like Damn It, Janet, The Time Warp, Sweet Transvestite, and Hot Patootie, that basically people forget the second act is almost entirely composed of sex. I'm willing to grant that since there are so many versions of the Rocky Horror Show, that this is the version that MTC is working with, and they are staying true to that version. But at the same time, if you know the show to be illicit in its representations, this is not going to be it. The Rocky Horror Show depends on the commitments of the cast, as I said earlier, for it to be pulled off. And I think here it is a mixed bag. As far as the principals go, Servideo and Johnston commit the most to their parts. Granted, they don't have a choice, as they are nearly naked the entire time. If they don't commit, they would look entirely foolish on stage, and they really do their best to be comfortable and passionate about their respective roles. I do wish someone would create a mic that actors can wear that don't require a power pack. Poor Servideo is on stage running around in tiny skin-tight leopard print shorts, and it looks like he's got a square turd in his seat the entire show. In fact, the audio throughout the day that I was in attendance was a mess. Johnston's mic was dropping out and not working from time to time. His audio would disappear completely. The band also would often overwhelm the volume of the vocals. Gillespie and Luongo are both charming as Janet and Brad. Luongo in particular gives Brad an adorable obliviousness that is both pathetic and sweet for the character. With a show this broad, the problem is it's hard to maintain the necessary energy for the musical numbers, and the weak spots show as some of the musical numbers lose their momentum by the start of the second verse. The most egregious is Hot Patootie, which needs to get wilder and more raucous until its bloody finale. Halfway through, I was ready for the song to end. There was one role that really stood out and really captured the soul and attitude of the Rocky Horror Show, and that is Brianna Bauch, who plays one of the Usherettes at the beginning of the show and is credited as Phantom One, basically an ensemble member. She is a hidden gem in the cast, and without doing anything broad in any way to distract from the rest of the ensemble, she shines in her commitment to her role. She had every second of her time on stage locked in and was a thrill to watch. It's one of those little things I'm always excited to see in what is essentially a background role, but you can see the actor just really shining the entire way. MTC's The Rocky Horror Show isn't great. It feels tame overall compared to what it can be. If you're a big fan and feel you have to see it, then I say knock yourself out and have a blast. It was cool to see audience members dress up for it and being engaged, but this production personally left me unimpressed. But I am only one man's opinion, so be sure to leave yours in the comments below. If you want to see The Rocky Horror Show, I'll leave a link in the description. You can support my channel by becoming a patron on my Patreon page. I'll leave a link where you can subscribe as a patron, which offers exclusive materials, so check that out. You can also support my show by liking, sharing, and subscribing, and click the notification bell to be alerted to future reviews. My next review will be the Broadway revival of Parade. Thank you for watching, and I will see you at the theater.